welcome back. Good morning, KSA. Once again, of course, that was our world lead, but today we're talking about a very, very interesting and very important topic, the safety of us all. We're talking about traffic safety, and it definitely is a shared responsibility. So let's welcome the experts in the field. We're joined by Mr. Wael Al-Ajlan, head of the Safety and Evacuation Planning section, and also Safety and Emergency Planning head, and certified civil driving instructor by the American National Society. We're also joined by Mr. Ihab Al-Samadouni, board member, in the Traffic Safety at the Arab Organization for Traffic Safety. Welcome to the program, both of you. Mr. Wael, let's start with you. And we're talking about traffic safety, and we're talking about how it is a shared responsibility, and people who are reckless or reckless drivers are not just risking their own lives, but more importantly, if they do not care about their own lives, they're risking our lives as a society when they decide to speed, when they decide to talk on the mobile, or even some guys are now fixing their looks in the mirror. This is another distraction that comes along. I mean, how can we actually teach people to be more responsible and to understand that the road is not just theirs, it's everyone's?
Right. Driving is becoming really stressful nowadays to get from point A to point B. And they're not just using vehicles as transportation, they use it as a toy sometimes, speeding or getting this energy out of their systems. But I believe it's more like if we start with the public education and how important and the real reason for the vehicles to be there, or the existence of it, or the use of it. I think they come together into a point where they start saying, are we going from point A to B, or we're just going from point A, but we don't know where's the other point is. It's when they're driving that recklessness and speeding. As you said, it's not just them. It really sometimes make me angry if I see like a driver with his family and kids, and everybody's floating around and no seat belts, and he's even speeding or flashing his lights, like you said, to get out of his way. If you're driving alone, it's really different than driving with somebody else in the vehicle. It's the responsibility of other lives as well. And despite the fact that if they're not going to be caring about the people inside the car, they definitely won't care about the other vehicles and other passengers. So.
Certainly, very true. Now, moving on with you, Mr. Ihab, being a board member of the Traffic Safety Organization, the Arab Organization for Traffic Safety mainly, do you think that you have more of a load on you with more of the uneducated drivers who are really a burden to our society in the Arab society in comparison with the European or the American societies?
I think I need to formulate it. Being there, I get to see multiple things that the world is going to do, because it's not only Saudi problem or the Arab problem. It's the world.
So irrational driving is not only the Arab problem?
No, actually, you have 1.3 million people driving through the world, and you have 50 million people in it costs the world $500 trillion. It's a huge number.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia has 6,000 only spots. It has 33,000 accidents a year. And it costs the Saudi government around 60 billion a year. That's a huge number. Number one killer disease in the world in the age between 14 and 28 is car accident. So it's a huge number. When you want to go into what is the society age that you have in Saudi Arabia, it's between 14 and 28 is the highest. So it's a really big issue.
Absolutely.
So if you want to target this number, this is number one killer diseases worldwide. It's number 9 from all death across the humankind. And it's growing in a very rapid manner to be number 9 to 3 in 10 years. So it's a huge issue worldwide.
Absolutely.
In Saudi Arabia, there's a program with the UN coming in very soon, from 2011 to 2020. The program called a contract to have a route, safe route, what do you call it? A contract to have a safe route, from 2011 to 2020. And that program, between 5 identities. The road itself and its design. So you have to really look at how is the road being designed, who's designing it, is it between cities, is it in the middle of the city, and is there signages, is the quality of the road is there. Then you go to the second element, which is the manager of the road, which is the police cars, the Sahel programs, all the program that makes the respect for the road there, the punishment, that's the one you're
the price of punishments that people are paying.
Yes, and then you have the safe car, vehicle itself. Is it safe? Do you have the right tires? Does it have the right brakes? Does it maintain in a proper manner? The fourth one is the user of the road, which is the drivers, the people with the driver, the kids, the walkers, the people who are walking on the road. All of them are responsible. Absolutely. So there's a lot of program there. And then after the accident, and this is where the emergency guys come and teach, the emergency people come and carry the patient, cut the doors and so on.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Ihab, I'm going to kind of move back to Mr. Well and maybe start with where you ended, the driver. And I think although all aspects are important, and of course maintaining the car and going through regular checkups to make sure that the tyres are functioning properly, they're not worn out, and all the other parts of the car that I'm not that familiar with. But initially, how can we teach better driving etiquette, if you'd like to say? Because sometimes I see that, or I assume sometimes, that there's even an ego to be played sometimes. Right. Some drivers are just like, you've got a better car than me, and guys do this, and you can't get ahead of me. I'm flashing, I have to get... It's kind of like an ego sometimes, it's reckless driving, sometimes it's even racing.
Exactly.
I mean, how can we install better teaching practices
it's
in our
ego,
driving?
it's the size of the car. If you get a bigger car, you say you have the priorities on driving around. So there are some facts that we can control and some that we can't control. Facts that we control is the way we drive, the condition of the car, condition of the tires. Things we cannot control, the condition and the behavior of other drivers as well.
Absolutely.
The condition of the road, sometimes we can control if we can like move aside or not. But the weather facts that we can't actually control in that. I believe if they start teaching defensive driving or the rules of driving to, let's say, from grade 3 or 4, you're being actually having the kids inside the car, then the father can't drive without a seatbelt because the kid's going to be bugging him. Dad, you got to put the seatbelt on. We're bringing people, or different generation, building up on these informations as well, and starting from a younger age and teaching defensive driving and rules. I think this will bring up a little bit more variety into how the other drivers are driving, or the behavior, or like I said, it's the public education in driving as well. And it's all about, you know, the drivers themselves. Like if you had a bad meeting or a bad day, it will definitely affect the way you're driving, the speed as well. As you mentioned, when there's a car accident, it's the traffic jam. It's not just these two cars that hit in a collision. It's the afterward, the contribution to society. It's the delay, the time factors, the cost, all that stuff. So I believe if they put in a program for a younger age, in a way we're trying, or they're trying to tackle these issues with the older people, and it's better to back it up with, you know, younger age.
So we need to work more on the younger society. But initially, when they're actually taking driving lessons, or when they actually get the license, they can actually show or imitate that they can drive properly. So do we need to maybe look at their driving techniques more? I mean, I know like in the UK, for instance, they're very strict with providing the license, and sometimes even though you can fully drive, if you are maybe making the mistake of driving with one wheel, and this kind of indicates to them that if you do this later, they'll fail you. And this is, it doesn't stop you, but it kind of makes things a bit stricter. I mean, do you think for the younger generation we need to focus more on them?
Exactly. It's the same here. If you try to, most of the time they just go to get their driving license done or created or having it issued, but they already know how to drive. But if the instructors notice the different behavior of how drivers should behave while they're driving, I think they'll fail them, because I've been into that driving lessons in schools in the Eastern Province, and they actually failed them just for even not signaling left or right, or maybe adjusting the rear view mirror. I think they're pretty strict into that issue, but once they get the driving license issued and they're out on the road, they change the whole rules. They drive recklessly. So.
Now, Mr. Ihab, coming to you, what do you think would solve our traffic situation here in Saudi Arabia in particular? Because not only that we are having reckless drivers on the road, underage drivers as well, and with things like Sahir nowadays, it is helping, but what is happening is that our people sometimes can outsmart the government even, I would say, because when it comes to Sahir cameras now, most of the people that I see that they are really speeding up down the road, but now because they always take the same route during the lunch break, let's say, or on their way to work, they know exactly where the Sahir cameras are. And you see them, that you would think, like, what happened to this driver? He was coming down all the way 120.
Suddenly they slow down.
Yeah, he has come down to 50, 60 now. And then you realize, oh yeah, because he did not want to be caught smiling to the camera, so he tamed his speed limit. But what do you think is the ultimate solution? Sahir is helping, but Sahir does not seem to be the this is it kind of a thing, because still we are having a lot of chaos on our roads.
You put your finger on the key. You're talking about the Sahir as a program to punish people in the proper way and proper manner. And now the second program is the right to live first. The right to live first is a program in the Arab organization promoting safety, الحق بالحياة, which is the right to live first, and that's to protect your life and the life of others, to have this continuity. And if you focus on this segment, you can teach the whole generation, which you create an inner need for change, because the mother agony is tremendously high in Saudi Arabia because of the amount of death and loss of their kids, father, the loss of the essence of the humankind in Saudi Arabia.
And people with the losses of their limbs, because we see too many of the young boys outside now.
That's why you take these examples and you transform them and you make meaning words, dedicated words. I went and visited kindergartens. They're teaching kids in Bahrain in kindergartens. The police goes to the kindergartens and teach the young kids, who respect the police guy. They play games as a road and safety programs. They take it twice a year, and it starts to live. The mother, you need a mother to accident, the father to accident. We need to create love, to love one another, to save our lives from each other. And that program exists. It's doable. We went and visited all the governmental officials. We started with the education, we started with the development industry, and all of them are working to reduce with the social media. It's a fantastic, you're doing us a favor today.
Well, we're trying to, you're doing the viewers a favour, but since we're running out of time, Mr. Well, just very quickly and briefly, some advice and some tips to the drivers as to how they can make the roads a safer place and how they can share the responsibility of driving, because they've got a licence, but the road is everyone's, of course, and we need to indicate this more to them.
Seatbelts all the time. Just even if it's a short drive, you can never tell. It might take you longer. Think of your family, think of your loved ones. It's getting from point A to point B. It's a transportation vehicle. It's not a race vehicle. It's not speeding. It's not, getting even with somebody else's issues. Be safe, be smart, and be home on time. So.
All right, and with this, Mr. Wall, we'd like to thank you very much. Mr. Hal, thank you so much for joining us in today's edition of the program. We wish to have you both soon enough again on the program, because I believe these kind of community awareness programs are very, very important, and as well as we see media playing a very, very important role in people's life and having a significant impact on people's life as well. And with this, I mean, we wish everybody safe driving on the roads, and well, because you cannot change the behavior of everybody, so just try to recite all the names of Allah before you get into the car, so that you know that you would get to some place good, if not to your principal destination. With this, we hope that more of the people would be more educated and aware about people's rights on the road, and would be able to respect other people. And with this, stay tuned. Still, there is lots more to come in today's edition of our program, Good Morning KSA.